So I think we've all had those times where we have all of our homeschool plans set up and ready to go, where we feel like we're going to be, and then life just happens, things get crazy, accidents happen, a new baby comes, and everything is just off the rails. So today I want to talk about what to do when that happens and how to continue to homeschool even whenever you are entering into a hard season. So if that's where you're at, then keep watching. Okay, so a little disclaimer. I'm sorry for all of the background noises that you might hear. We are kind of in a weird location right now. We are actually in one of our hard seasons, and I have all of my kids inside, and so this is the quietest place that I can film. So first of all, if you are new, hi, my name is Brittany. I am a homeschool mom to 4 kids. We have been homeschooling. This is our 8th year homeschooling. So I feel like I've been, around a little bit to where I feel pretty confident in kind of giving some advice on this. We've had health issues and diagnoses for autoimmune diseases that we've gone through that kind of threw us off track. We've had babies and toddlers, and so we've been through our fair share of hard seasons, and so I feel pretty confident in giving a couple of tips today for how to kind of get through that. So my first thing that I do when I know that I'm entering into a hard season is I identify my non-negotiables. So generally these are going to be math, language arts, and reading across the board for everybody. And normally what I do at the beginning of the year is I look at each child and I kind of set goals ahead of time on what I want them to have accomplished. So for example, I have some kids that maybe I have a kid that's been really struggling in reading, and so that's something I'm not going to let slide. Or they're struggling in spelling, and so we're going to push that a little bit harder. Maybe their math skills aren't as strong, so I'm going to really make sure that we're not slacking off on math. But if they're stronger in reading, we'll do a full math lesson and make sure that they're reading, but we're not going to really go deep into certain areas that they are pretty strong in, because we have to remember that these are normally seasons. Most of the time we're not going through extended periods of time where we cannot properly homeschool. It's normally a few short months to where if we have to take a little bit of time off, it's not going to make or break our school year. It's just going to maybe put us a little bit behind in an area, but not so much that we can't get caught back up whenever things slow back down. So really just narrowing down your non-negotiables. I would make sure to talk to your husband what are his non-negotiables when with the kids, making sure that you're covering the subjects that he thinks are most important as well, so that you are a team when it comes to homeschooling, that you are not just unilaterally making the decisions. You want to respect what he wants as well. So coming together and making that decision on what is your non-negotiables is just really important. So my second tip is prep where you can. If you know you're going to be going into a hard couple of months, say you're pregnant and you know you're going to have a new baby, or you have some kind of a procedure or a surgery coming up that's going to put you out, down for the count for a little bit, then prep as much as you can. So what this looks like for me is I tend to lean more classical, and what I love about some of the stuff that we use is that I normally add things onto it. I have kind of a spine. So for example, with history, I'm going to give an update on my curriculum, but I actually have gone back to Story of the World. That'll probably be my next video or two talking about that. But what I like about using Story of the World is it's a very short read, and then you're going to add on video. You can add on YouTube videos, you can add on read alouds, you can add on the map work and the coloring pages and the activities, and you can add these things on. But if you run into a time where you don't have a lot of time to do prep, you could always do just the reading, and then all of the read alouds are normally on YouTube, so you could just look up a read aloud on YouTube and that's your history for the day, or maybe make a copy of a coloring page for them to do, and just keep it very, very simple. Also making sure that if you know you're coming into that time where you can't be as hands-on as you need to be, make sure to choose curriculum that is not as teacher intensive. So there are a lot of options that are available that are going to be more student-led, that will have the curriculum teaching the student more, and maybe switch to that for a season. Hopefully the cicadas aren't too loud here. We are in Texas and it is August. Okay, they're dying down a little bit. So maybe save the curriculum that's going to be more involved for the times whenever you've recovered from whatever trial you might be going through. So some of the ones that I know of that are a little bit more student-led would be like Christian Light Education tends to be, Abeka has video-based, BJU has a lot of video-based curriculum that you could just buy the whole distance learning package that they have, where you could set them up on the computer. I know Teaching Textbooks is completely automated, so you don't have to do any of that. CTE is a math curriculum that, or no, not CTE, CTC is a math curriculum that is also the same way. So maybe for a time choosing a curriculum that would get you to not be needed as much, so that you can do whatever you need to be available for. So my third tip kind of flows out of that. So this is kind of prep work. School through breaks. So if you know that you're going to have a new baby, for example, then maybe don't take as long of a summer. That's what I did with whenever I was pregnant, is that we only took like 2 or 3 weeks off for summer break, so that I gave myself 6 extra weeks in the middle of the school year, because my babies that I had while I was homeschooling were born in September, both of them were. And so we homeschooled from, June until the very end of August. And then I took a week or 2 off because I was miserable and I didn't feel like homeschooling. And then I had 5 weeks of recuperation time. And then normally what I would do is we would probably go a little bit further into the summer, which is what you can do if you have something that comes up in kind of a surprising way. Maybe you get injured, or somebody gets really, really sick or is hospitalized, and that puts you off of your schedule. You can go further into the summer the following year. And I would actually do that the years that I had babies, is that I would go ahead and take that portion of summer before the school year. And then I also would allow for going over by about 3 or 4 weeks, because I knew that I would have several days where I would be so sleep deprived that I didn't want to damage our relationship, because I always try to preserve our relationship over schooling. If that means I'm going to go further into our summer, in order to not school on days where I'm super tired and irritable, that's what I'm going to do, because I don't want to damage our relationship by being very irritable during our school time. I want to be patient with them, and I have the hardest time being patient when I'm sleep deprived as it is. So I don't want to add on homeschooling on those days too. So we don't even try on those days. So my fourth tip is try to go interest-led for things like science during that time. Science is always the first thing to go in my mind. When I have elementary school kids that need me very involved for their science, we will normally put the curriculum away, and we will do a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of nature journaling and things like that in order to fill that science gap. Or I'll take them to the library and let them pick out books that they can read, or maybe that I can read to them while we are sitting on the couch resting. And my final tip is be willing to ask for help. If you have a friend that's nearby that's also homeschooling and you're going through a really hard time, maybe see if they would be willing to help out with your kids, to pick up some of the slack. Maybe talk to your husband if he could help. During really hard times, I've had friends who have had to send their kids back to school, into the public schools for a year, to take a break because they were going through some really hard things. And that's okay. If you have to do that, that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're a bad homeschool mom if you have to do something different than you originally planned. That actually makes you a good mom if you are seeing that your kids have a need that you can't fill in that moment, and you're reaching out to make sure that not only are you taking care of the things that you need to take care of based off of whatever trial you may be going through, but you're also making sure that their educational needs are being met. So don't feel like you are being a bad homeschool mom if you are not doing everything on your own. If you can afford a co-op, maybe sign up. I know with co-ops you're supposed to be teaching, so I don't know how that would work, but if there are classes that you could take that you could send them to, don't be afraid to do that. And also use things that are online if you can, you know, do YouTube. There are so many things online that you could fill a curriculum with for a temporary time so that you can, you know, continue to educate them, but also do what you need to do for you and for your family. A friend told me a quote the other day that I absolutely love. I can't remember the guy's name, but he said, "Don't let perfect be the enemy of good." He was talking about diet, but it really resonated with me as a parent and as a homemaker, because we can have these lofty goals on what we want to do with our kids in our homes, and then when they don't pan out, we can just feel incredibly defeated. So there is such thing as good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect all the time. Trust that you know what your kids need. So those are my 5 tips. So if you have been around here for a little bit, I will give you an update on what our hard time is right now, because I kind of mentioned that in the beginning of the video and just left y'all hanging. So if all you are here for is the tips, then this is where you end off. Wait for the cicadas to stop singing to me. Okay, so I am currently staying with family because we have been dealing with mold, and it was a lot more involved than we originally thought. And so there are walls down at our house, one in particular, and our fireplace has been ripped out now. So this has been a very challenging season to homeschool through. I had mentioned before about some things that I was planning on making curriculum-wise, specifically for my K4 daughter, and that has completely gone by the wayside. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually be able to finish that curriculum. I'm really disappointed by it, but I also know that the Lord works things exactly how he designed, like how he wants them to happen, and so he put a stop to it for a reason. And so I'm just not supposed to be doing that right now. So I'm disappointed, but it's okay. It's not what I'm supposed to be doing right now. So I know that there are other things that he wants for me to be investing my time in. So that's what I am choosing to do and looking for where he wants me to go. So since it was just so bad in the house, we felt that it was not a good environment for us to be living in. And so while it is being taken care of, we are currently staying with family for a few weeks until it can all be remediated and the wall can be put back in, and it'll be all taken care of. It's fine. The Lord has it in hand. I'm not worried about it. It sucks. The financial side of it really does suck. Being out of our home sucks, but God is good and he has a plan. And the way that we were able to find out about this mold just showed how much he is working and how he just will always bring things to light as they need to be known. So I have fully put my trust in him and his plan for our home and for our homeschool and for our just everything. And so thankfully we are able to continue on with our homeschool. We are back to kind of a schedule almost. We're back almost on our schedule, but it's been it's been a week and a half so far of just trying to get some form of routine going, even though we're not at home, but we have all of our school stuff, and so it's feasible. So I hope this video was helpful for you if you are going through a hard season. If you are, please leave it in the comments. I would love to be praying for you, or if you have anything going in your life that you need prayer for, please feel free to leave it in the comments. I love hearing from y'all. I am trying to get back to at least once a week schedule. I think that's where I can commit to. Hopefully we'll be back to our normal setup soon. So with that, I will see y'all next time. Bye.